This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Yep, it's Chloe all by herself. You can't even tell what the hell you're looking at right there, but... Chloe! Chloe! Looks like a tribble. There's no front or back. How's everybody going? Hey, thank you, Chrissy. How the heck's it going? Wow, look at that. There's Jay Case right at the beginning, too. Thank you. Hey, happy Saturday to you. I still haven't seen Steph May out there at all. Hope she, I don't know if she was supposed to have some surgeries sometime, but I didn't know. I don't know when they were supposed to be or anything, but she hasn't been. I haven't heard from her in like 5 or 6 days. Normally I hear from her. And usually that means something is going on. The cat eye. Hello.
And the freaks.
Yarg. Yep. I don't know what she's doing. Yeah, so how's everybody doing? Just looking at the chat there. For what? Author. For what? Hey, there's Amber Maiden. Haven't seen you in a couple days. Yeah, that Sherman case looks pretty interesting. It's interesting how there's that other Sherman family that was, the murder. I think it was Barry and I can't remember the wife's name. Yeah, we covered Menzer last night. I like that, yeah. Yep, getting old sucks. Yeah, that was pretty good too, right, Barbara? Flat Rock, Kathy Jones. Yeah, that had a lot of other possibilities in that podcast. We've had some really interesting cases lately. Unfortunately, the number of people watching is not really that high. I don't know what's going on, or, I don't know. I might be in one of those weird algorithm moments where even when I'm going live, it doesn't get put out there. It happens, and it's happened many times. It's also a Saturday, so maybe people are actually doing something. I don't know. I mean, this is what I do on Saturdays. Who cares if Linda's live? Jesus. It's a crap. I don't even know, you're talking about the rambling crap? Jesus, that doesn't have. I hope there's no crossover, people. Don't watch that and this one. Let's see. Yeah, Chloe. She's just not going to do anything. Oh, you mean what's your face? Yeah. It's a shame, that person. Yeah. Let me guess, it's about one of the big cases, the Summerwells or Brian Laundrie, something like that. Right. Yeah, well, Blue's hidden in a... yeah, she's just been too hyper with him, so she's in a crate. Or he's in a crate right now. Yeah, poor Blue. Thanks, your gypsy. Hope you're everything's okay with you. All right. I think I was going to go over these some interesting DNA cases out there, and we'll get started. I think we can maybe get through all these. I don't know. We'll see. So Linda Louise Lebeau. This is was in Charlie Project right here. Hold on. See right there? Charlie Project. They had a picture of her. Linda was last seen in Tustin, California. This is from 2013, by the way, this Charlie Project. She met her ex-husband, Philip Lebeau, at Love's Restaurant that evening to collect some money from him. After the meeting, Linda was at a Texaco gas station at Red Hill Avenue and El Camino Real in her car, a cream-colored 1971 Volkswagen microbus with the California license plates number 257NXS. Witnesses saw Linda arguing at the gas station with another man whom investigators believe was Philip. That's what I would have thought too. Inside her Volkswagen. Linda got gas, then got into her vehicle and accidentally backed into someone else's car. Linda jumped out of the Volkswagen and ran towards the Red Hill Avenue, but the man she was with chased after her and grabbed her by the arm, and she returned to her vehicle. Linda spoke to the driver of the car she hit, and he gave her his contact information. She has never been heard from again. Her Volkswagen was found 4 days later on the shoulder of the Red Hill Freeway on-ramp to southbound Interstate 5. Her purse was inside it, and there was no indication of a struggle at the scene. I mean, we hear cases like this all the time. Linda was Philip's third wife. They had a history of domestic violence. Their 4-year, in their 4-year marriage. After their divorce, Philip broke into her apartment, stole some of her personal belongings, so he must have had a key somehow, slashed the tires of her new boyfriend's car, and poured sugar in his gas tank. The day Linda disappeared, he was supposed to give her $300 to pay for the damage to her boyfriend's vehicle. Oh, man. This case is really obvious, right? Authorities learned that on the night of Linda's disappearance, Philip returned home much later than expected, wet and wearing different clothes than he had been wearing when he left. He was seeing another woman by then, but remained fixated on his ex-wife. Investigators believe Linda was murdered, and Philip is the prime suspect. Now, he isn't the prime suspect. He is the killer. Okay, just based on that information that we just had right there, he is 100% the killer in this case. A photo of him at the time of his wedding to Linda is posted with this case summary. He died in 2008 Authorities still hope to get answers in Linda's disappearance and find her body. Her case remains unsolved. So there she is right there. Then also in 2013, there was this article. 36 years later, police are trying to solve woman's murder. And these are pictures. That's a picture of her right there. For the second time in almost 36 years, investigators are stalled trying to figure out what happened to Linda Louise Durnell. They are confident. Hold on a second. It should be, I guess that would be her maiden name then. They are confident she was murdered on Thursday night in 1977, and they think her now deceased ex-husband did it. Well, he did do it. It's not like they think he did it. It's this is one of those ones that's 100% based on that information that we just read that he did it, right? There's no out. You can be some wacko conspiracy theorist and go, well, he was beating her and he put her in his car and he drove somewhere and then somebody else got, it just doesn't make any sense. It's obvious, all right? Tustin police forgot about Durnell until 2007 when they received a call from the Justice Department with news that her surviving family members wanted to provide samples for a DNA database, making it easier to identify her remains if they were ever found. Eventually, police found an old report that explained how Durnell was last seen when a suspicious traffic accident happened October 6, 1977. When her car was found, a few days later, her personal possessions were inside and there were no signs of a fight. It bothered me what was written on the teletype, said Patty Gallo, an investigator on the case. Gallo started digging and the case got bigger, growing from a brief teletype report to hundreds of pages of documents by 2011. Hey, thanks, Colin Pendleton. Tustin police have spoken with Durnell's family, her ex-husband's old girlfriend and children, as well as the last person known to have seen her alive, and her old boyfriend. They found out she had a horrible relationship with her ex-husband, Philip Lebeau. She showed up at work with black eyes, her home was burglarized, and her new boyfriend's car had sugar put in the gas tank. Lebeau, who died in 2008, is the suspect, police said. Well, no, he's also the killer. There's no doubt about it. The ex-husband would clearly be a suspect in the case. A suspect. The hope is that somewhere in the ensuing years since their disappearance, that the ex said something to somebody. But they're stuck and don't know who might have some crucial missing details. They'll talk to anyone who might be able to help. So it says Durnell and Lebeau met at Orange County International Raceway. She had a job and could afford a car. She loved racing anyway. Doug Durnell, her younger brother, said she didn't take long to make friends. Just walking through the pits, she met Phil. Durnell did well in school and was into boating and sailing. Let's see, she water skied until she suffered a shoulder injury. Doug Durnell said Lebeau initially seemed like a good guy and easygoing and treated his sister well. Gallo said he worked odd jobs but nothing too steady. He often lived beyond his means and got into mischief but no serious trouble. After about 6 months of dating, Durnell and Lebeau got married. She was his third wife and the new stepmother to his children, but the marriage turned bad pretty quickly. I think Phil just wanted to have a wedding band on her. I don't know, that later she was just not that interested in it. Let's go down here. The day she disappeared, she and Lebeau were supposed to meet at Love's Restaurant, which is now a Denny's at 1571 Camino Real. Let's see if that's still like that right now. Gotta open up Google Earth. You know what I'm saying? Might take a second. Yeah, there's no doubt at all that he did it. Does anybody have, like, in there, are you going, well, you never know with it? No. That's 100%. Is there a Denny's there? No, it looks like a hotel there. Maybe I got the wrong. There, maybe it's this one. That looks like probably a Denny's. What happened? It just froze right there. Oh, here we go. We already have a problem with Google Earth right off the get-go. Alright, let me see. She was going to meet him there to give him $300 to Darnell to pay back damages to her boyfriend's car. Afterward, she was at a Texaco and what's now Starbucks at Red Hill Avenue and El Camino Real. A witness said he saw Darnell inside her Volkswagen van arguing with a man. So they saw her inside the van arguing with a man. Then for some reason, she backed her van into the witness's car, got out of the van, and ran away. The man who investigators now believe... So he probably tried to attack her right then, and she slammed into him. She got out of the van and ran away. The man who investigators now believe was Lebeau chased after her and brought her back to the car. Darnell then went to talk to the owner of the car. So she actually, got back to the car, and then, he forced her back, and then she talked to the guy she just hit. Sensing something was wrong, the owner gave Darnell his contact information in case she needed to talk. And that was the last time she was seen. Yeah, you think so, Tiffany? Hey, Tiffany, what makes you think that they're boring? I mean, just curious. Why are they boring to you? I'm just curious. I'm just going to pause the show. Tiffany wanted the show to be made about her. So, hey, Tiffany, what was it about this type of a case that it's boring to you? And we'll just pause the show for good old Tiffany up there. You seem like a real winner. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, thanks, Mag. Are you okay? I mean, you have the Omicron that's going around, spreading like wildfire. It's basically a cold for most of it. Thank you, Mag, the legend. Thank you very much. Very kind. Well, I guess some people like the show there, Tiffany. Yeah. Isn't that amazing, Tiffany? Some people actually like this show. Yeah, I'll definitely continue on here. Oh man, you got the regular flu, man. That's almost that's almost a miracle in itself. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better. Because the flu's almost gone because it's everybody's washing their hands and wearing masks and everything. But it's still out there. It just takes one. You're in the wrong place for a minute or just anything. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, it's not you. Let me go back up and find Vando. See you later, okay? Have a good one. So that other one's off the channel now. Yeah, thank you so much, man. And all of you. Jay Case, Your Gypsy, and Colin Pendleton, and Chrissy. Yeah, I don't know how people say what they're saying. Anyway, so look it. let's see, they were arguing in the minivan, or the Volkswagen bus, it sounds like. Then the car backed in. It's almost like he grabbed her and she did something and ran into the guy behind her. Then she got out of the car and ran because she was trying to escape him. She was scared of him. But he chased her down, brought her back to the van, and then she actually was able to talk to the car that she hit, and he gave her his card because he sensed something was wrong. And that was the last time anyone had seen her. 3 days later, police found her van at the entrance of southbound I-5 with all her personal possessions still inside, and her family never heard from her, signs that she didn't run off and start a new life. Police later learned Lebeau returned home much later than he was expected that night, wearing a different set of clothes. What's this say? I'm sure there are people out there we have no clue about that know the suspect very well and know her. yeah, there's no chance that he isn't involved. All right, so then just now, look at this. Boom. Human remains found off Ortega Highway tied to cold case. Linda Lebeau vanished from Tustin in 1977. Human remains found in 1986. So when she disappeared in 1977, she was, she went missing. And then 9 years later, near Lake Elsinore, her remains were found, and using genetic genealogy, they were identified. Partial remains found more than 35 years ago off the Ortega Highway near Lake Elsinore have finally been identified as those belonging to a Tustin woman. Normally, there's no marrying up of a Jane Doe and a missing person file. Like, you don't see that too often. In this case, I was just reading you the articles from the Charlie Project, that was 2013, and other articles and stories out there about the case because they know who she was and that she was missing. Well, unbeknownst to them, is her body had actually been found all the way back in 1986, 9 years after she went missing. And then earlier this week, it was determined that the remains found in 1986 were those of Linda Louise Lebeau, maiden name Dernal, who was 27 when she vanished October 6, 1977. The Riverside County Regional Cold Case Homicide Team made the identification through familial DNA match in the Department of Justice's missing unidentified person database. Partial skeletal remains, including a skull, were found in 1986 down in an embankment along the Ortega Highway by Caltrans crew, Caltrans crew, or what is it? Caltrans crew? Caltrans is probably what it is. Caltrans crew doing survey work. Riverside County Sheriff's investigators determined the victim had been shot in the head, but they couldn't identify the remains or any suspects in the apparent homicide. Well, they're kind of in the same boat right now. Last August, because they still need to be able to prove the ex-husband did it, but to me, if you put that in front of a jury, he's going to be found guilty. There's no chance. Last August, the Cold Case Homicide Team, which includes the Riverside County Coroner's Office, exhumed several skeletal remains from cold cases. The skull found in 1986 was among them, and it was sent to a Department of Justice lab for possible DNA comparison. A match was made. Linda Louise Lebeau, because remember that 2013 article that we read? The family had their DNA taken, so it was put into that database, but they had to get the body exhumed to then compare it. I wonder if there was somebody out there who maybe connected the two, although it was really vague and I couldn't really even find a newspaper article on it. Tustin police have been investigating the Lebeau case for more than 40 years, but had not been able to bring any resolution. The day of Lebeau's disappearance, she was supposed to meet her ex-husband, Philip Lebeau, at Love's Restaurant in Tustin to collect money. He agreed to pay her for maliciously damaging her boyfriend's car. So you already know he's a stalker psycho. Witnesses reported seeing her at a nearby Texaco gas station arguing with a man believed to be her ex. So that's the part where, you know, you could say, well, how did we know it was him? Okay, well, he was the one that was just there meeting her, and he was having to pay $300 for damaging her boyfriend's vehicle and stealing shit. And she probably threatened him and said, I'm going to go to the police if you don't pay for that. So he shows up and he's just so angry, and then that's what he did. He's a psycho. It was the last time anyone saw her. 3 days later, Linda Lebeau, 1971 Volkswagen, was found abandoned along Interstate 5 with all of her belongings inside. Linda and Philip Lebeau once resided off Ortega Highway in the San Juan Capistrano area, according to Tustin police. Philip died in 2008 but remained a primary suspect in the case, according to a 2013 article, and that's probably the one we were just reading. The couple's relationship was damaged with allegations that Philip was physically abusive toward Linda. Police learned that the night of Linda's disappearance, Philip Lebeau returned home wearing wet clothes. I wonder if it rained. He told police he had gone to the Ortega Highway residence he once shared with Linda to reminisce. Ah, wow. So even then, God, he actually placed himself in the area. That's crazy. Even after Philip Lebeau's death, Tustin police were still searching for answers. I wonder why they didn't look into their database and say, you know, we did find a body off of the Ortega Highway back in 1986. Yeah, well, Perry Mason's not real, John, so it's a fictitious show. It's man. So basically, anyways, that case, they now have her body's been found, and that's good news. But it still doesn't make them any closer to, I think circumstantially though, since it's on the same highway where they used to live, all the other information, it makes a stronger case. I bet if you did a coroner's inquest, he'd be found guilty. And by the way, I'm done with Yellowstone, the show. I mean, the 4 seasons. I watched them all. It was good, man. That is a good. You know what it is? It's Game of Thrones, but they even have the same music, so they're sort of letting you know that that's what that is. It's like Game of Thrones, but in Montana, with corporations, ranchers, and Indian tribes being the various thrones. I don't know what my favorite show is ever. Don't know. Anyways, I wasn't talking about shows. I just wanted to bring that up really quick. Alright, and then we've got another DNA case right here.
For the past 27 years, no one knew who this murder victim was. Tonight, the mystery is solved. With the help of DNA technology, family and friends of the woman are now a step closer to finding justice. Getting to this point has not been easy. 13 on your side, Ottawa County reporter Keely Levern talked to the cold case team about how they finally solved the case.
It was in these woods that the bones of a woman were found 27 years ago, but it was just this week that we finally know her name.
We were able to identify a missing person named Shelly Ray Christian, or Shelly Ray Kephart.
Until now, she was only known as Matilda, a name given to her by investigators.
Christian, or Shelly Ray Kephart.
So look at that picture, and then look at this crazy drawing.
Until now, she was only known as Matilda.
I don't mean to make fun of the artists here, but some of these people suck. Okay, sorry.
It was in these woods that the bones of a woman were found 27
Let's just
years
look
ago.
at that one more time.
Are now a step closer to finding justice. Getting to this point has not been easy. 13 on your side, Ottawa County reporter Keely Lovern talked to the cold case team about how they finally solved the case.
It was in these woods that the bones of a woman
how
were
it just
found 27 years ago. But it was just this
desolate,
week
yeah.
that we finally know her name.
We were able to identify a missing person named Shelly Ray Christian or Shelly Ray Kephart.
Until now, she was
jeez.
only known as Matilda,
Yeah,
a name
frickin'
given to her by investigators when she was found on November 6, 1994. Rabbit hunters found skeletal remains in the woods in Wright Township near Coopersville. Her death was ruled a homicide, but with no identity, no charges were ever filed in the case.
The main challenge in not having a name is not being able to trace back.
I thought it was
her steps,
Australopithecus
find out where she
africanus,
was last
though, but
known
yeah,
to
maybe
be,
it was a Neanderthal.
and kind of what her path was from there.
Cold case detectives Sarah Philman and Allison Anderson had heard about this case for their entire career, and then it was their turn to take the reins.
How nice it would be to finally be able to give her a real name.
See, that's exactly the whole
and,
point of this whole
we've
thing.
done that.
And they did that with the help
Yeah.
of the DNA Doe Project. It led them to find
We used to
genealogy
donate to them a
matches
lot,
near
but we've
Minneapolis,
switched. We
Minnesota.
donate now to
Detectives traveled there
to
to
doing
get DNA samples from that family, and months later
identifying
it was a
finders,
match
you know,
to Shelly
so they
Ray
can do it.
Kephart, who has been missed by her mother, siblings, and 3 children for so long.
So when we actually got to meet those people, for us that was very, I want to say, rewarding, and for them it was very emotional. It answered a lot of questions for them about her whereabouts.
That was probably
the
emotional
last
for you, too,
27
right?
years.
Everyone involved says these types of cases take a lot of work, but they never give up on any of their victims.
For us, Shelly has always been a person.
It's tough work, but we do care.
Captain Sparks says they have information that Shelly may have been living in the Grand Rapids area before her death, and even though it's too early to speculate on any suspects, they aren't ruling anything out.
There's quite a few other females who have been killed around that time frame. We're obviously looking into that possibility. But the case isn't solved, it's really just beginning now.
The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with any information, big or small, or anyone who may have known Shelly to please reach out to investigators. Reporting in Ottawa County, Keely Lovern, 13 on your side.
I don't even know what they're about to talk about there. So that was the. I mean, that doesn't even look good either, you know. But at least it looks more like a human being. On November 6, 1994, rabbit hunters discovered human skeletal remains in a cornfield near a wooded area north of I-96 in Wright Township, Ottawa County, near Coopersville, Michigan. Investigators believe the victim was most likely dumped at the site between May and September of 1994. A forensic anthropologist determined the victim to be Hispanic Latino female between 35 and 45. Except she doesn't really look like that, and she doesn't seem. I mean, she could be Latina with the dark hair, but I mean, that looks more just Caucasian, right? So let's see, this is on the DNA Doe Project here. So on January 20th, 2022, the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office and the DNA Doe Project announced the identification of skeletal remains found in a cornfield near Coopersville. Shelly Christian was born on February 13, 1964, and had been living in Minneapolis. She was reported missing by her family in October of 1993. Her body was found on November 6, 1994, almost 600 miles away in Michigan. The connection was not made to Christian at the time. Initially, investigators believed the deceased was a Hispanic heritage and had died at the hands of a possible serial killer along with 10 other women. Her cause of death was undetermined. So that could still be true, the serial killer part. The DNA profile of the remains indicated North Atlantic and French-Canadian ancestry. See, there's no Hispanic. Not Hispanic, and was originally thought. Starting with second and third cousin matches, the dedicated investigative genetic genealogist with the DNA Doe Project. It would have been very difficult if it was Hispanic. And they worked their way through Christian's family tree until they came across a missing persons report from Minneapolis from October 1993. That seemed like a good match to the Jane Doe. Detectives from Ottawa County Sheriff's Department contacted relatives of Shelly Ray Christian and were able to obtain DNA confirmation of the relationship. Team leader Matthew Waterfield said the case proved trickier to solve than it initially appeared, with our highest workable match sharing only 128 centimorgans with Shelly. However, our team was able to identify a couple born in Iowa in 1840s as ancestors of the then unknown woman, which provided the first breakthrough in the case. In an attempt to confirm that this was the right person, we found a German baptismal record from the mid-1800s that tied a hitherto mystery DNA match this is crazy, isn't it? I mean, to a separate ancestral line of hers, which confirmed that Matilda Doe was in fact Shelly. DNA Doe wishes to acknowledge the groups of individuals who helped solve the case. Detective Allison Anderson, but very cool, very cool. Man, these genealogists are absolute, just ridiculously smart people. Yeah. All right, so this is also this is something somebody sent me. I don't remember who sent it to me, but it was called Little Miss Nobody. I think it might have been Quietly Frozen. I don't remember who that was. Who sent me this? Anyways, Little Miss Nobody here. I mean, what a ridiculous name, by the way. You know, to call somebody Little Miss Nobody, but that's what their nickname was for her. Hey, look at that. It's Sean Beacham. Yeah. Why would you ever listen to that song? Okay, so this is a still unsolved Jane Doe. I think somebody sent it to me because they were thinking maybe this might make a good project to work on, because it's right up the alley of identifiers. The only problem it might be is if it makes it very difficult if they're Hispanic, because there isn't a lot of Hispanic people that use the services, and also then don't upload to GEDmatch for other uses for for people to do their own research on it. So it says something like this is in Arizona here. Yavapai County Sheriff's officers are trying to identify the body of a 6 to 8-year-old girl found badly decomposed 30 miles from Wickenburg yesterday. An inquest was scheduled at 10 a.m. today. The body was found by Russell Allen of Las Vegas. Here, I'm going to put this one in here since it's not solved. The other one, we'll just do Little Miss Nobody. Wow. 1960. An inquest was scheduled at 10 a.m. today. The body was found by Russell Allen of Las Vegas, Nevada, a teacher. It was half buried in sand. Maybe it is in I can't remember exactly. A half mile west of Highway 93 on Alamo County Road. Where is Wickenburg? Hey, thanks, Kathy Freidenmaker. Yeah, it's Arizona. There you go. So it said it was a half buried in sand 1/2 mile west of Highway 93 on Alamo County Road. I've got the heaters on in here. Alamo County Road, huh? Alamo County Road. I bet you that's not even there anymore. Alamo County, Arizona. Yeah, see, they don't do the counties anymore. It's weird. So how about Highway 93 in W-I-E-K-E-N-B. Okay. So there's Highway 93. That's Wickenburg. I bet you it's a 60 right here. Alamo County Road. Alright, hold on. Let's just randomly on Google here. Alamo County Road, Arizona, name change. Is that going to show up? Now let's see. Arizona 25, Alamo Road. Okay, how about just Alamo Road? So there's 93. And then Alamo Road. Oh, there we go. There is an Alamo Road that I saw. Alamo Road. Man, there's a whole bunch of... How about... Yeah, that's nowhere near there. Is it that one? That could be it. There's 93 Alamo Road, and it's near... I mean, it's pretty near there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, 15 miles, that makes sense. So there's Alamo Road, Highway 93. That was a good guess there. Thank you, Jiggy, England. Alright, so it said... Body was found by Russell Allen of Las Vegas, a teacher. It was half buried in sand in Yavapai County, 1/2 mile west of Highway 93 on Alamo County Road, northwest of Wickenburg. That's exactly, this is it. Because there is Wickenburg, or whatever the hell that was right there. And then northwest, it's right up here. And then it said west of 93, and it was 1/2 mile. So we can almost get exactly. Hey, thanks, TTJO Tracy. We can get almost exactly where this was. Just go to right. It's a little bit less than that. So the person driving on 93 just drove up here and then dumped the body and then went off. Because it's a really, you know, you can. I bet you there's no street view even on that, but you can see it from right here. It's going to be just a dirt road almost. Yeah, look at that. So they just turn off onto there, and you know, you're absolutely desolate there. So let's get the from here. That's 0.26, 0.54. Right there is a 1/2 mile. Make that a 4 with a And there we go. It's right, found right in this area there. Man, what road is that anyways? Where does it lead? That's insane. I bet there's a lot of bodies out here. Okay. A post-mortem was conducted, but cause of death was not determined. Officials asked any person who knows of a missing girl to contact the sheriff's office in Prescott. The girl was about 42 inches tall and weighed about 60 pounds, maybe 50 or 60 pounds, can't read that. She had brown hair and red nail polish on her fingernails and toenails. She was believed to be wearing maroon or red shorts, a blue flower designed blouse. Coroner Gerald P. Kohler of Darnell estimates the girl had been dead 2 weeks. Sheriff Sergeant Dave Carter said a blood-stained and rusted pocket knife was found at the scene. Wow. Allen was he was rock hunting. Alright, we're going to move it forward. Next day in the paper. Linked body of girl to New Mexico kidnapping. Authorities sought to determine today whether the body of a girl found in the desert might be that of a New Mexico girl who was last seen being dragged into a car in Alamogordo, New Mexico. FBI agents said Sharon Gallegos was last seen as a man and woman dragged her into her car in the New Mexico town 12 days ago. The body was found Sunday on the desert. I always say in the desert, but I guess on makes technically more sense, right? On the desert near Wickenburg, was believed to be that of a girl who had been dead 10 days to 2 weeks, but the victim is thought to have been slightly older than the New Mexico girl. The body was decomposed, but the girl apparently was about 42 inches tall and had brown hair. A coroner's inquest was postponed pending completion of medical examinations. Cause of death was not determined. And then we've got still another one on the second. Search will begin today for what appeared to be a family seen walking in the desert Wednesday west of Congress near where the body of a young girl was found Sunday. According to the report from a Phoenix member of a survey team, the group included a man and a woman, 2 boys and 2 girls, and a baby being carried by the woman. One girl was wearing red shorts and sandals, fitting the description of clothes worn by the dead girl, according to Hiram Wilson, an employee of Coe and Van Leo Consulting engineering firm. Wilson called the sheriff's office to report seeing the family after reading of the discovery of the child's body. He said 2 other men were in the surveying group with him when they saw the group. The possibility that the dead girl, believed to be 6 or 7 years old, was a member of the group was heightened by a report from Deputy Sheriff Dan Jacobs. He said the group had been reported seen near Congress on Saturday. At the time, there were only 3 children and the baby with the 2 adults. So it was missing the one. That's crazy. Most members of the group were wearing bib overalls and cloth caps with peaks. Wilson said the group did not appear to have any water or canteens. They did not seem to be in trouble. The body was found half buried in the sand. The child was believed to have died about 2 weeks ago. However, according to person Persons familiar with the area, the intense heat there would have hastened decomposition of the body. Yesterday, the search had shifted from Arizona to New Mexico in the belief that the child had been Sharon Lee Gallegos. Meanwhile, Prescott authorities said cause of death of the unidentified girl has not been determined. Clues gathered include a pair of thongs cut down from an adult size to fit a youngster. Her clothing did not have any puncture holes, so that means she wasn't stabbed through the clothing. So where did that bloody knife come from? Indicating a knife. It said her clothing did not have any puncture holes, indicating a knife had punctured it. Okay, penetrated it. It's meaning it. It's just saying that that's really poorly worded right there. The body of the child found in the desert had painted fingernails and toenails. So maybe a strangulation or something. But where did the bloody knife come from then? A coroner inquest yesterday was continued until a later date. Justice Gerald Kohler said he will wait a final written report on the post-mortem examination. Boot-type footprints had been found near the site where the girl's body was discovered by a Las Vegas, Nevada teacher searching for rocks. There also were tracks of a smaller shoe believed to be the girl's. Tire tracks were found about 50 yards from the body. The tire marks indicated a car had pulled partway into the desert, then turned around and left. Wow. So, yeah, that's just so weird. They actually have the marks of the car when it was dumping the body. Just like in the McStay case in the desert. Footprints identified the girl's body. So they're actually talking about, that's really not, another really poorly written. It's footprints were used to exclude her. Okay? That's the truth of it. So there's still no identification of the child found because the feet didn't match. So it doesn't mean footprints identify a girl's body. No, it doesn't identify the girl's body. I mean, it's almost like clickbait. Oh my God, they identified her. Oh my God. The FBI said today that a comparison of footprints shows the body of the girl found in the Arizona is not that Sharon Gallegos, 4-year-old Alamogordo child missing and presumed kidnapped. The FBI office in Albuquerque said footprints of the Gallegos child were obtained from birth records at Gerald Champion Memorial Hospital. These were sent to Washington for comparison with prints, taken after the other child's body was found. There is still no identification of the child found in Arizona, but yet up here you said footprints identify a girl's body. I guess it doesn't. Yeah, so anyways, right here, body of the girl, not that of New Mexico child. Hey, look at that. It looks like it's Amy Fountain's birthday, Mary Lou. Hello, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, are you around?
I don't know. I don't see her, Gray.
Well, why would you see her? You don't, I mean, what do you stay in the same place, like a bunkhouse or something?
Not really. I don't know. Yeah, how would I see her?
Mary Lou, where the hell are you, Mary Lou? Mary, where the hell is she, man? My God, she's gone.
I'm right here, Gray.
Well, I've been calling your name for 10 minutes now, and you haven't said a damn thing. Why is that?
Well, I was sleeping. You woke me up. What do you want me to do?
Well, you need to sing Happy Birthday for Amy Fountain. Okay? You need to sing Happy Birthday for her.
Amy Fountain? Like fountain? Like a water fountain?
Yeah, it's a last name by some people.
Okay, here we go. Happy birthday to Amy Fountain. Happy birthday to Amy Fountain. Happy birthday, dear Amy Fountain. Not a water faucet. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, what was that part about? Not a water faucet. I mean, that's really childish, right? Yeah, it's a fountain, okay? And, you know, it's not like a drinking fountain. She didn't say drinking fountain. It's just a fountain.
Gosh, Gray, I tried my best. You're so mean. Look at Yozo saying that was atrocious.
Wow, that's too bad, Mary Lou, because you sucked at that.
That's not very nice.
Wow, I'm going to have to silence that one. Oh, man. Sorry about that, Amy Fountain, but, you know, she did sing it, and that matters. She gave it a shot. All right? And yes, happy birthday. And then the last one was unidentified child buried. They did, so it's just like Daniel Armentrout here, right? That's even a year prior. A community that knew her only in death sorrowfully buried an unidentified little girl yesterday. In a voice choked with emotion, Dr. Charles Franklin Parker of the Congregational Church told more than 70 Prescott residents attending the service, "Somewhere, someone is watching to learn what happened to a little girl left on the desert. If there has been a misdeed, probably a disquieted conscience will go on and on." The tot was found half buried in the west central Arizona desert south of Prescott, July 31st. She is believed to have been between 6 and 8 years old, but her identity and cause of death remains a mystery. And then there's now this is it listed on in NCMEC here. This is one of the organizations that we donate a lot of money to. On July 31st, 1960, the decomposed body of a small child was found in a sand wash off Alamo Road, approximately 1.5 miles from Highway 93. Outside of Congress, Arizona, in Yavapai County, it is believed the female child, who is commonly referred to as Little Miss Nobody, has been deceased for 1.5 weeks prior to being found. The decedent's age is best described with an age range of between 2 and 7 years of age. She was approximately 3'6" in height and estimated to have weighed 55 pounds. She had brown hair and was found wearing a checkered blouse and white shorts. She was also wearing a pair of adult-sized sandals, flip-flop style, that had been cut down to fit her. Her fingernails and toenails were also painted. The featured reconstruction is an artist's rendering of what the Jane Doe may have looked like. I wonder if it's worth I mean, you know, this is one that would be really interesting. Little Miss Nobody is the name given to her. I got a lot in Wikipedia on it. But I'm not going to go through that. But it might be an interesting one to, you know, contact to see if they're interested. I don't know. You know, she might not be Hispanic. You know? It just makes it a lot harder. You can definitely solve those, but they're harder. Yeah, Little Miss Nobody. That's kind of a dumb name, you know? Why not just come up with like everybody else and just name her after the area or something. Like, how do you know she was a nobody, you know? Yeah, there is another name that's been given to her too, but I can't remember what that was. So that's crazy. Look out, just out in the middle of nowhere. Like this. I mean, this is a city over here, Phoenix, but I mean, how many miles is that? It's probably 80 or so, 73 miles. And then whoever it was probably drove down here, drove right down here, pulled in. I mean, look at that. I don't even know. That's probably a... You can see other vehicles have driven out here. Pulled into here, dropped her off, dumped her body out, and then pulled back out and drove away. And it could be that she was killed elsewhere in the town, and that's just where her body was dumped. In the desert. And I guess she was... Well, she wasn't just dumped because she was half buried. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, now I don't think it was that family that was seen walking. It doesn't really make sense. Now that you know that there were just like one set of footprints other than hers and a car had pulled in and pulled out. Well, where was the family then? So it could just been a coincidence. I mean, what would make sense that they're all walking together alive and then they just sort of wanted to kill one of these kids and then walk away? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Right. So right now we're at, what, about 9 days left in the month. And we're trying to get a good start on the year so that we can fund get started on funding another case. And later, either this next week, but probably the week after that, I'm going to be heading down to Southern Oregon to meet with a sheriff and a... oh, that's what... Quietly Frozen. Thank you. Yeah. There you go. So this might be a good one. That's why you sent it, right? Quietly Frozen. It was reminding you a little bit of Daniel Armentrout. But yeah, I'm going to be heading down to Southern Oregon to meet with a sheriff and a detective and discuss maybe some possibilities of something to a case to cover that they have down there. Looks like we've gone backwards in subs. I think I was all the way up to 70,890 the other day, or more than that. Like it was actually up 70,900, and then it just goes down. I mean, you never know why it does it. YouTube's just, it's crazy. But it could have just been that I threw out the truth in the Brian Laundrie case yesterday. You could tell. See, here's the thing. When I made that video on Brian Laundrie yesterday, I put I made my comments of the craziness with the hand coming out of the flower beds and everything on the first video that I made yesterday. And you could tell by the number of morons that were commenting in there
Awesome.
that those are the people that are going to go, oh, I don't like this channel anymore. Because I don't entertain that sort of garbage, you know? Hey, thank you. Foggy Morn. We got a Q and an F. Quietly Frozen. Foggy Morn. Hey, thanks for sending that one, Quietly Frozen. Yeah, that was a good update, yeah. Yeah, I'm just telling everybody the truth. And that's, sometimes that hurts people's feelings when you're, I don't like to, when somebody, sometimes if the truth hurts, it hurts, right? The thing is I know people aren't as stupid to sit around and believe that there was a hand coming out of a flower bed But if I had a nickel for everybody who believed that shit when it first started, I'd be a millionaire. Isn't that sad? I guess I'm implying that 20 million people believe. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really stupid people out there. The reason they think that, though, Kathy Friedenmaker, is that they want to keep the case going and create new angles to discuss, even when there's nothing. And, you know, that's how it always works. Thank you, Eugenie. Yeah, they love it. Greg, it's like a pastime. Today and last night, 2 that were down protesting the Landrys lost many hundreds. Over 1,000 for sure. Oh, why is that? They mean they lost subscribers? No way, man. There isn't anybody over there that would blame them. You know, those people over there are nuts that follow those channels. So the thing is, they're going to keep defending somebody, even though they were an absolute joke in that case. Okay, literally standing in the front yard, screaming through a bullhorn to a family that also lost their kid, and it had no effect on anything other than being one of the most embarrassing moments of YouTube history. So, I mean, I guess they could win that award. I mean, there should be an award for the most embarrassing moments on YouTube, and some of those clowns would have multiple entries into that contest. Multiple. You know, like, for example, the one time when I was doing the show on the Hart family, and they storm off the set and they call me up later, hey, this is great for ratings. And I go, I don't give a shit about that. I'm covering a case. Yeah. That's when I knew that person, their heart isn't in the right place. They fake it, and they'll bitch and cry if you say their heart's not. How dare you? I could. And it's just, you know, it doesn't mean anything to me at all when they say that. And then they went to the sister of Brian Laundrie, and yes, she did come out eventually because they were in danger at that point. And they just wanted to say something. So you can't say, oh, wow, we got that information. Well, it didn't help at all, okay? And remember all the fools that sat around believing Dwayne the Dog Chapman, or whatever the hell his name is, when he came there, what were we saying? Well, I was saying, some of you were like, oh, I kind of like it. Well, that's great that you like him, but when he got here, I said that he is only here for publicity. The information that he had that led them to that island or whatever they were at was already known by the FBI. They already knew everything, everywhere that they had gone. It was just new to the public, so he could use that. And everybody's like, ooh, Dwayne's going to catch him. I mean, what a bunch of ignorant people. Yeah, I mean, you really think Dwayne, the dog, you know. And the reason it's ignorant is because he was already dead, and we already knew that, remember? Because we knew that he had taken the gun, and the FBI was searching the reserve over and over and over again. And so what that means is that he's dead in the reserve. And guess what? That's where he was found later with a notebook, which we suggested maybe even as a confession on the notebook. And voila, everything came true. You know, the simplest answer is the truth. Oh, yeah, I thought it was so embarrassing. The most embarrassing part about Dwayne, the dog Chapman, or whatever, the bounty hunter showing up, was that he had no chance, and it was obvious. It was just another publicity stunt. As a matter of fact, when he went to that house and, you know, just stood there and he knocked on the door when he went to Brian Laundrie's house, that's kind of what started the morons with the bullhorns. They were like, wow, look how much attention he got. Hey, what if we go there? And yeah, and then it just escalated from there. Yeah. Yeah, well, sometimes you almost hope for that, Amber. That's the sad part. Yeah, because it's so disgusting. It's such a blight on the true crime genre. Yeah. That's no problem there, Sean Beecham. No problem. Yeah. Anyways, just wanted to say that again. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. And, by the way, have you watched any shows yet? Have anybody come out yet and said that they're going to claim that somebody else wrote the message on the notebook? And people believe he's still alive. So that means somebody else did write that, right? All right, you guys, I'm gonna do the Eliza Sherman case. All right, so here we go. Let me do the first one, the article I had. This is in Ohio here. Hopefully I can get through this. I'm feeling kind of tired. Yeah, they have nothing to do with it at all. But they claim to be, and that's why it puts a blight on the true crime community. They claim to be true crime. They're anything but. They are an embarrassment. Okay, and I know that my show might not be as sensationalistic and entertaining, like woo, 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 you know, but I'm just trying to do it the right way, you know, going through, you know, somebody was bitching the other day and said, man, you don't do your research, you know, you should have done it. And what do you mean? I just get all this shit together and we go over it. We're working on it together, you know, and I do. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Before the show, I don't want to have the whole puzzle figured out and researched all the way through. I just try to go out and find all these different elements that we can then go over and put together. I think it's a better way to do it than just blurting out, you know, the facts and just boom, 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 and let's move on to something else. You know, by the time we're done, everybody remembers the case. There's a lot of information, and we've kind of all worked through it together. No. Anyways, we're going over this one right now. Eliza Sherman. Homicide probe starts in slaying of nurse, 53. This is a pretty crazy one. I think this is like Cheryl Coker, you know, Melissa Pesky again, same thing. Or actually, we could even say it's a lot like Deanne Warner. Same damn thing, just psychos. A Cleveland clinic nurse is dead, and police have opened a homicide investigation into her death. Eliza Sherman, 53, a nurse from Beachwood, was found Sunday afternoon near the Galleria in downtown Cleveland, bleeding profusely from her torso. Let me, you know what, let's get her, see where she lived. Go to Ben Verified here. And they said she's from Beachwood. Okay. Probably a suburb area. Okay. That's going to be her. And she's deceased. That's the one. Yep, and this is their address right here. 25130 Penhurst Drive, Beachwood. Alright, hold on, let me make a this one's got surveillance and everything. It's pretty crazy. There we go. And this is Eliza's home. It's a pretty nice house there. Yeah, I usually just read a few comments here and there when I'm going over a case, but you guys can at least have a conversation in there and work through it, and you have time to do it. Alright, so we were on here. Okay, Cleveland police spokesman Sammy Morris said Sherman was found about 5:30 p.m. after dispatchers received a call of a woman screaming at 75 Erie View Plaza. And that's at downtown Cleveland. 75 Erie View Plaza. And there it is, Cleveland, Ohio. So it's not really that far away. I mean, let's do the measurement here. So 10 miles. And Aliza was bleeding right here. Or Eliza. Covered in blood from apparent stab wounds. Morris said Sherman's purse was discovered from the scene and nothing was stolen. A cause of death is yet to be determined. Sherman's body was taken to the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's office where an autopsy will be performed. The Cleveland Clinic released a statement Monday. Sherman worked for the clinic's Beachwood Family Health and Surgery Center. She has touched many lives and will always be remembered for her warmth and kindness. Our thoughts are with her family, friends, and colleagues during this difficult time. Sherman had 4 children, according to her Facebook page. Sherman is in the process of divorcing her husband. Bingo, right? Sanford Sherman. Online court records show a trial was scheduled for today in Cuyahoga County. So right before the trial. I mean, it's just, could these guys be more obvious? Unbelievable. And then 911 caller tried to save downtown stabbing victim. Cleveland police released the 911 call made Sunday afternoon after a witness heard Eliza Sherman screaming for help. The caller said, "Don't die, lady, just stay with me, okay?" The dispatcher said, "Just try and keep her still." The caller said, "Don't move, lady, please do not move." Try as they might, the man who heard 53-year-old Eliza Sherman's screams for help and a dispatcher couldn't save the Beachwood mother. She died at Metro Health Medical Center of multiple stab wounds. Sherman, who was divorcing her husband Sanford of 30 years, was attacked outside her attorney's office building. See, she was just at the attorney's. This whole thing is just really wild. I think I've talked about this case before, like a long time ago, because some of it sounds familiar. I just hadn't mapped it out or anything like that. So I think this is before sort of the way I do the live streams now. Hey, thanks, Sean Beecham. Hey, you got to work. Sherman, who was divorcing her husband, Sanford, of 30 years, was attacked outside her attorney's office building. At her house, neighbor Marilyn Lenson tells us, "We have seen Mr. Sherman since it happened. We haven't seen him since it happened." Lenson is saddened by the murder. "I feel bad for her kids and I feel bad for her. Sherman's purse was still with her, although it is not known if anything was taken." And it says Eliza Sherman of Beachwood was stabbed 11 times outside of her attorney's office. The Beachwood woman who was killed Sunday after she left her divorce attorney's office was stabbed 11 times. Eliza Sherman, 53, so that feels almost personal at that point. Or it could have been a killer trying to make sure she was dead. Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner Thomas Gilson released the number of stab wounds today in an email to the plain dealer. "Number of stab wounds is 11, he said. "I cannot comment on the size of the knife. In most cases, autopsy does not usually permit that kind of statement." Police were called at 5:30 p.m. Sunday about a woman screaming at 75 Erie View Plaza. Yeah. Well, look at, so here's the surveillance footage right here. And I think, see, there's a camera right here hidden. And I think that there's also a shot from that camera. So we've got it right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me make this a little bit bigger, I guess. There we go. See, that person's running away. And then there's another shot a little bit closer up, but it doesn't really help at all. It kind of looks like a woman to me. And they've definitely got something around their face. And then that's the shot from behind, and I think it was from that other camera that we were just looking at, maybe. So let's see if we can determine where this is on the map here. I bet it's right there. I can just tell by the way that those beams. I think it's going to be right here. And then we'll go down. I think it's going to be near the end here. And there's going to be something. Yeah, that looks exactly how that looked. Let me see. Yeah, let's go back to the... There's that parking thing, so I didn't see that. So there's stop sign in that building. Let me look again. That's not it. Oh, maybe it's on the other side. Right there. There we go. This is it. It's gotta be over here, right? And there's a parking. Yeah, there it is. That's the building in the back. Right there. See? Boom, boom, boom. And in a minute we'll see parking on one of these right there on the side here coming up. It should. There's that camera. Right there. That's the one camera that you can see in that shot right there, except at that time it said parking, and it is a parking garage. And so this person's walking right here. So suspect's walking right here. And so she was stabbed over here, and then this person was running away, and it was based on the timing. I think that's why they think that person is it. I think it was like 5:30, something like that. The individual was seen on video in the area of East 13th and Hamilton. Yeah, we found it. Guess we didn't. It was easier to find it quickly like that, I guess. But I guess if I'd read that, it would have taken 2 seconds. Where's that entrance sign? There's got to be a camera back here. There's the entrance sign right there. Yep, there we go. There's the entrance sign and the camera right below it, but it said parking there at the time. See, this is the entrance sign, there's the camera, and then this person's running on the inside right there. Eliza Sherman's brother believes her murder was planned. Brother told a local television station he believes somebody out there knows something about it. Sherman of Beachwood was killed March 24, 2013, just outside the Galleria in Cleveland. She was stabbed 11 times. Her killer has not been arrested. Cleveland police say they have no suspects. Her friends and family are working diligently to keep her case in the public eye. Let me turn off this air conditioning. God, it's just driving me nuts. It's more the heater. Sherman of Beachwood was killed March 24th, 2013, just outside the Galleria. Cleveland police say they have no suspects. Her friends and family are working diligently to keep her case in the public eye. That he believes his sister's murder was planned and that it only a matter of time before police catch the person who did it. All right. Yeah, I get like allergies from this stupid heater down here. It's crazy. So this article is from the forward. Jewish nurse Aliza Sherman, brutal murder has Cleveland police puzzled. I'm not sure her being Jewish had anything to do with this one, though. I think it's just her husband. The voice of the 911 caller is frantic, pleading for help in the background. There's blood everywhere, the caller says. I've never seen so much blood. Paramedics arrive on the scene in downtown Cleveland moments later and rush the victim to the Metro Health Medical Center some 5 miles away. But it's too late. Eliza Sherman, the 53-year-old mother of 4, is dead. Does that exist? The audio from it? Eliza Sherman 911. Let's see. Oh, this is the one I'm on, I think. Okay. Sherman sustained 11 stab wounds to her neck, head, back, arm on the evening of March 24th. A month and a half later, however, no arrest has been made, few clues have been found, and the public aren't saying much about their investigation. And the police, excuse me. All of which has prompted frustration among Sherman's friends and family. Sherman, a fertility nurse at the Cleveland Clinic in the midst of a contentious divorce, was killed the night before Passover, her death sending shockwaves through the Jewish community. A standing room only crowd of some 600 mourners attended her funeral. Eliza was really the sweetest person I've ever met in my life, said Danny Horwitz, a Cleveland native whose family was close to Sherman. With my mom, she always had time to help or do whatever was needed, no matter what was going on in her life. Few details of the murder have been made public, save for the 10-second surveillance video released on April 22nd, nearly a month after the attack, showing a person believed to be the killer fleeing the attack. Recorded by a camera mounted on a ceiling of a ground-level parking garage, the video shows a shadowy figure wearing dark clothing and a hood. Looked like they even had a mask on. Police have asked for the public's help in identifying the attacker. We've been following up on the tips and leads that have come in. Police have not publicly identified a suspect. At her funeral, Sherman's son, Joshua, addressed speculation about the case, insisting that his father, Sanford, a retired ophthalmologist, was not involved. I'm sick of hearing about the stories on the news, Joshua said, according to a report of the Cleveland Jewish News. No one knows who did it. I'm going to say right now my father has nothing to do with it. Well, you're wrong. The couple filed for divorce on June 20th, 2011, and Sherman was killed about 300 feet from the office of her divorce attorney, which she had just left. So that you got a hearing like the next day, and she's at her divorce attorney's office, and it's just random that she got killed by a ex-husband in a contentious divorce. No. The Shermans had a court date scheduled for the following day. Those who knew the couple say the divorce process, like their marriage, was not going smoothly. Since late 2000, 22 incidents associated with Sherman's address, see, that's a huge red flag right there, were reported to police in suburban Beachwood, most involving claims of domestic disturbance. In October, police were summoned over concerns for a welfare of a household pets because of Sanford Sherman's actions. One police report involved claims that one of the couple's sons had locked himself in his bedroom as a result of fighting between his parents. Several reports involved heated arguments between the couple. The most recent call came on March 25th, about 7 hours after Sherman's stabbing. The most recent call came on March 25th, 7 hours after Sherman's stabbing was reported to police. According to the police, Sanford Sherman claimed that suspicious vehicles were parked near the house. Of course, yeah, it wasn't me. Look at all these weirdos out here. The Shermans lived on a tree-lined street in Beachwood, an affluent Cleveland suburb that's home to 8 synagogues as well as many Cleveland key Jewish institutions. She was a 1977 graduate of the Hebrew Academy of Cleveland and a member of Beachwood's Orthodox Green Road Synagogue. She possessed an incredibly large heart. Frustrated by the sluggish progress in the case, Sherman's friends and family have raised $23,000 as a reward for information leading to an arrest. To ratchet up pressure on police, Horwitz created a Facebook page, Justice for Eliza Sherman, that keeps a tally of the days since the murder and encourages the public to call the mayor demanding action. Thank you, Linda Howell, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles. The page, which has garnered more than 1,700 likes, also has served as a gathering place for grieving friends. I've seen the Facebook page. Eliza Sherman at center of $2 million lawsuit. So, what's going on here? Eliza Sherman murder is still unsolved, and now her name is at the center of a $2 million lawsuit. Sanford Sherman, Eliza's estranged husband, is accused of theft and identity fraud in a civil suit filed this week by Jennifer Sherman on behalf of her mother's estate. Thank you, Tawny Lee and Rita Schaefer. So now one of her daughters is definitely suing the father. Thank you, Amber Maiden. Sanford Sherman, Eliza's estranged husband, is accused of theft and identity fraud in a civil suit. Jennifer Sherman's attorney, Jason Winter, told WKYC he would love to get the entire truth out in the open, but it wouldn't be fair to pending litigation. The details filed in Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court show a question of $2 million that went missing years before Eliza's murder. Sanford and Eliza Sherman married in 1982, and Eliza filed for divorce in 2011. After 2 years of arguments, a trial was set for March 26, 2013. Yeah, I mean, so she got killed on March 25th, 2013. That doesn't set off anybody's alarm bells. Eliza died 2 days earlier, so I guess it was the 24th. Stabbed to death outside her attorney's office. So here she is preparing for this is so common right here, by the way, that the murders take place just before a court appearance. Cleveland police say the only suspect is a masked figure, so he did have a mask, seen on surveillance video running from the scene. Experts cannot determine from the tape if the suspect is even a man or a woman. Right. Looks kind of like a woman, but it's hard to say. There are some guys out there that might look like that running or something. I don't know. The lawsuit accuses Sanford Sherman of forging documents to make off with money in an account in Eliza Sherman's name. The documents accuse Sherman of making a number of secret deposits from May 2000 to 2010, totaling more than $2 million. From 2004 to 2010, the documents say he depleted the account down to zero using a forged power of attorney. Wow. The suit is also filed against 5 John Does, allowing lawyers to include anyone else who might have been involved. The estate wants to recover damages. So anyways, that's pretty wild right there. So that means he's out there. See, this does remind you of Deanne Warner a little bit. The one that we've been talking about. You know, he's... jeez. There's so many of these. It's ridiculous. 2 years on Sherman's siblings staying positive. One might expect that as the 2-year anniversary of Eliza Sherman's murder approaches, and that as closure remains elusive because the case remains unsolved, that some of those closest to her, particularly her daughter Jennifer, might be burdened by negativity and uncertainty. But that isn't necessarily the case. Sure, Jennifer admits she feels the loss of her mother and closest friend every day, and there are unavoidable instances in which life achievements bring about acute reminders of her absence. But what's largely defined this second year has been a desire to do good for others in her mother's name. So anyways, there's this whole interview with Jennifer Sherman right here. I actually have it in here just a second. So that's Jennifer Sherman in the interview.
Can be done, just learning about, all the different types of
The
labs.
problem is it goes in and out, left to right, so you might not be able to hear it, what she's saying, or you can't hear what she's saying. Let's just see what she says near the end.
Candy, and it's chocolate, which was like what she lived for in her main diet. But it was Rolos, and I have not seen Rolos, honestly, in probably 8+ years. And I don't really know that many people that eat Rolos. And so when I saw them, I had to look up, do one of those moments where I look up and I'm just like, there's nothing more blatant than letting me know you're here than putting Rolos in front of my face, because she absolutely loved them. And yeah, it was amazing.
You just feel like she's
Oh,
sending
that almost hurts my ears. The way
you a sign today.
I feel very, I don't know if this is a strange thing to say, but at peace here. I feel a good energy. One of the first things that I was told when we sat down at the table to talk about my mom was just that this team,
how does it feel to be
they
here?
are taking this
and to
personally.
know
They are
kind of-
invested.
Yes, this is
and to me,
actually,
what more could a
interview
victim's
was
loved one want to
done
hear
in-
than that?
I want to go. She doesn't really talk about the case that much, but this is in August 2021, so not that long ago. So here's 2016. Eliza Sherman's attorney. See, this part here is really strange. So look at that. The attorney that she was at and then was murdered outside? Eliza Sherman's attorney accused of sending her false text messages before and after her death. I mean, what in the hell is that? A Cuyahoga County grand jury has charged slain Beachwood nurse Eliza Sherman's divorce attorney, Gregory Moore, with tampering with evidence. The first charge, so was he in on it with her husband the whole time? I mean, that makes you just really wonder. And he promised him a big payout, way more than any kind of fees. The first charge connected to Sherman's March 2013 stabbing outside Moore's downtown office. Eliza Sherman was stabbed to death on the eve of her divorce trial outside the office of her attorney. So the same guy, who wasn't prepared for the trial and had been told by a judge that there would be no more continuances. See, he didn't want to work on it because he was talking to her husband and he wasn't even going to do the trial, so why would he work on it? Cuyahoga County prosecutor Timothy, that's what I think, all right. Cuyahoga County prosecutor Timothy J. McGinty also states at a news release that a year before Sherman's 2013 slaying, attorney Gregory Moore had made bomb threats to 3 courthouses on days when his clients were scheduled for trials. Wow, so that's a habit of him. He just wasn't ready. He just kept getting the fees and fees and fees. McGinty released a statement after a grand jury accused Moore, 42, of sending text messages to Sherman, falsely stating that he was in the office in the minutes before and after the stabbing, and of later lying to police during an investigation of the slaying. We believe that the indictment and the evidence behind it takes us one step closer to bringing her killer to justice. Yeah, you'd think that would have made a huge difference. Moore has denied involvement in Sherman's death and the bomb threats in previous statements through his attorney. It's obvious that they're still searching for the true murderer of Eliza Sherman. Moore's current attorney, Kevin Spelcy, said, Greg is looking forward to his day in court. A hooded assailant stabbed Sherman 11 times on the sidewalk outside Moore's downtown Cleveland office. Moore texted Sherman in the minutes before and after the stabbing to say he was waiting to meet her in his office inside the Erie View building. But he wasn't really there. But prosecutors examined phone records, electronic keyboard data from the building, and statements from witnesses, and concluded that Moore had left his office an hour before the stabbing. Oh, man. And did not return. Ah, man. So he set her up to get there. And did not return until more an hour after police found Sherman's bleeding heavily on the sidewalk, according to court records. And did not return until more than an hour before police found Sherman bleeding heavily. So let's see. It concluded that Moore had left his office an hour before the stabbing and did not return until more than an hour after. God, that just sounds so planned. It's ludicrous. Thanks, Sean Beecham.
Eddie the hamster is listening.
What do you guys think of that? That's just, that seems so clear. The day after the killing, Moore falsely stated to 2 Cleveland police homicide detectives that he was inside his office at the time. So why would he need to lie about that? Moore faces charges of tampering with evidence, telecommunication fraud, etc. The indictment also includes 3 counts of terroristic threats and 6 counts of inducing panic in connection with 3 bomb threats Moore is accused of calling in on courthouses in Cuyahoga. Deposition reveals details of Sherman's civil case. In a newly filed court document related to civil lawsuit against Dr. Sanford Sherman, depositions of those connected to the case paint a sordid picture of Eliza Sherman's estranged husband, including admissions of an extramarital affair. Now we got the Cheryl Coker angle. Details of a defamation lawsuit kept hidden from family involving an exotic dancer, and a reference to a conversation soliciting advice on how to commit the perfect crime. Copies of emails from Eliza Sherman to her divorce attorney, included in the 619-page document filed June 14th, also spelled out that the Beachwood mother of 4 and former Cleveland Clinic nurse feared for her safety as the couple's contentious divorce case moved forward. Wow, so there you go. And that's like Melissa Pesky, who said she feared for her life and actually tried to leave. Mostly, however, the deposition transcripts included the filing bring to light matters surrounding possibly forged signatures and transferred funds. The suit states that Eliza Sherman filed for divorce from Sanford Sherman in June of 2011 and alleges that in early 2013, when Sanford was planning the murder, during the discovery process of the divorce case, a forensic accountant was conducted and revealed to Eliza Sherman for the first time. This is it right here. This is the stressor moment here. The suit states that Eliza Sherman filed for divorce from Sanford Sherman in June of 2011 and alleges that in early 2013, during the discovery process of the divorce case, a forensic accounting was conducted and revealed to Eliza Sherman for the first time a Merrill Lynch account in her name only, surreptitiously opened by Sanford in May of 2000, according to a previous CJN report based on court documents. So she probably confronted him on that. Between 2000 and 2010, Sanford allegedly made more than $2 million in clandestine deposits into the account. However, in 2004, he allegedly created a forged durable power of attorney that provided him the authority to withdraw funds from the account, and in the ensuing 6 years, the account was entirely depleted. Wow. On May 6, 2016, Sanford Sherman's attorney, Brian J. Green, filed a 20-page motion for summary judgment in the case, which granted would stop the case from going to trial. Among Green's arguments in favor of summary judgment are that Merrill Lynch account constituted marital assets earned by Sanford Sherman during the course of the marriage in which he had a joint and equal ownership. In his November 2014 deposition, Sanford Sherman states that he spoke at length with his wife regarding the account, and that not only did she understand the arrangement, she agreed to have him handle paying bills and investment. Well, you don't. You're going to believe him just because he says it? The support is his argument. Friend points to an analysis from a forensic document examiner hired by Jennifer Sherman, whose expert opinion was that there is a strong probability that Eliza Sherman did not write any of the signatures or initials on the disputed documents. However, that same expert said while Sanford Sherman may have written them, the evidence falls far short of the necessary to support a definitive conclusion. In emails to her divorce attorney regarding family bills, Eliza Sherman writes about assets she believes Sanford Sherman hid from her, but also discloses fear for her safety in the process, describing herself as jittery, anxious, and afraid to sleep. I am really afraid. I think he's going to do something really bad, she writes in an email dated January 16, 2012. I'm really afraid he's going to have me killed. Have me killed. Boom. In his deposition, Sanford Sherman stated that on various occasions, so you can just see it right now, he promises her divorce attorney a huge payout, has him text her to be at the appointment, but he doesn't want to be anywhere near the murder, so he's not even there. But she's going to be showing up, and then Sanford gets a hold of a hitman who's waiting for Sherman to show up, Eliza to show up, and then he stabs her to death. And then, I mean, it could even be Sherman himself, but I think it's maybe even a hitman, and stabs her to death and then runs away. And then everybody, there's no proof of anything other than it's on video camera of the person running away. I'm really afraid. In his deposition, Sanford Sherman stated that on various occasions he witnessed Eliza putting a recording device in her pocket and proceeding to try to provoke him to an argument that she could record. In response, he had discussions with a friend with a background in law enforcement about obtaining a recording device of his own. A $300 listening device was obtained, but Sanford Sherman said he ended up using it only to record his ideas about the stock market. This guy. However, Eliza Sherman expressed concerns about listening devices in their house in an email dated March 9th, 2012. He was quoting things. I said to my brother when he wasn't home, house bugged probably. That same ex-police friend, Larry Shanker, stated in his deposition on April 21st, 2015 that Sanford Sherman asked him how someone would go about committing the perfect murder. Shanker states he provided Sanford Sherman with his scenario for committing such a crime. Pretty much the obvious, I think. Almost any anybody would think of these. The fact that you don't use your car, or you don't let your car be seen, don't use a gun because it could be heard, don't use your street clothes, use something. God, this matches that surveillance perfectly. Don't use your street clothes. Use something that would cover your entire body, your face, your hands. Don't use a gun because it would make noise. Oh my God. So let's go back to this and just look at this. Pretty much the obvious. The fact that you don't use your car, you don't let your car be seen, don't use a gun because it could be heard, don't use your street clothes, use something that would cover your entire body, your face, your hands, don't use a gun because it would make noise. I mean, my God, that just fits that absolutely perfectly. The person runs to me like a girl, though. And the reason I say that, see the arm, how it just sort of, it doesn't, most guys run with their arms continually bent. Let's see. In his deposition, Sanford Sherman, what if that's his girlfriend? She probably hated her. What if that's Sanford Sherman's girlfriend? Attorney for Sanford Sherman, who faces no criminal... Is this interesting to you guys? Because nobody's commenting at all. It's like telling jokes at a bar and nobody's laughing. You know, like there's nobody's communicating. I mean, nobody's discussing amongst yourselves. So maybe that guy was right. Let's see. Well, I know you're listening, but don't you guys want to, you guys can communicate about it in the chat. That's what the chat's for God's sake. Yeah. In 2017, Eliza Sherman's divorce lawyer, Greg Moore, sentenced for inducing panic and falsification. So the divorce lawyer for Eliza Sherman was sentenced on Tuesday for inducing panic and lying to police who were investigating the 2013 murder of Eliza Sherman. Moore pled guilty for inducing panic and falsification. He was sentenced to 180 days in jail, 36 months of community control, and 150 hours of court work. Well, hopefully he lost his license. On July 10, 2012, Moore, 43, an attorney, placed 3 phone calls to Cuyahoga County Old Courthouse stating that a bomb was set to explode. Moore also called bomb threats to, what an idiot. Sherman, 53, and a mother of 4 children was stabbed 11 times in broad daylight on March 24, 2013, while on her way to her divorce attorney's office, an office that he claimed to be at but didn't show up for another hour. You're eating soup, huh? Backstory. Eliza Sherman's killer caught on tape, but still no arrest 7 years after stabbing. For the families of victims in unsolved murders, life has been at a standstill for a long time, even before the pandemic arrived. This is November 2020. Over the next several weeks, Inquirer will highlight a series of cold cases, summarized and analyzed by the journalist. Okay, this one is Eliza Sherman was looking forward to a second chapter in her life. The 53-year-old Cleveland nurse was on the cusp of divorce. It was stressful, as divorces always are, but she was turning a page. Trial in 2 weeks. Sherman texted her brother in March of 2013. Hopefully, there is life after death. 11 days later, on March 24th, Sherman was fatally stabbed on a public street in broad daylight. 7 years later, the slaying is still unsolved. It's just so painful that there hasn't been any closure to this, said Jan Lash, who was Sherman's best friend for nearly 3 decades. It doesn't seem like anybody's looking at this case anymore. She at least deserves justice, Lash said. Eliza and her husband, Sanford, were married for about 30 years and had raised 4 children together, but the relationship was clearly falling apart in 2011. Sanford Sherman admitted to an affair that had lasted from 2006 to 2010. On June 20th, 2011, Eliza Sherman filed for divorce. According to a story publicized in 2017 by Cleveland Magazine, the proceedings got ugly fast. Sherman, a daughter of Holocaust survivor, wrote to a rabbi that she had been battling and struggling with a very controlling, hurtful spouse for many years. She sent an email to herself in 2012 that made note of her worries that her husband might have her killed. But her husband wasn't the only conflict in Sherman's life. She'd also had trouble with her divorce lawyer, a man named Gregory Moore, who had taken her case over from a colleague when the colleague's law license suspended. Moore kept asking for delays on Sherman's case and others, saying he wasn't prepared to appear in court. He even called in bomb threats to various courthouses. The day Sherman died, Moore had sent her a text message asking her to come to his office to prepare for the trial that was scheduled to begin 2 days later. She told Lash over the phone where she was headed, and her friend offered to tag along, but Sherman declined, saying she'd be fine. It was outside of Moore's office that Sherman was attacked by someone with a knife. According to her autopsy report, Sherman was stabbed in her face, her neck, her right ear, plus 8 times in the back. The lie: Moore wasn't at the office. He had sent a text telling Sherman he was waiting for her there, but he wasn't there. He had lied. I mean, it's interesting that he has those other lies because he doesn't want to show up in court, so that sort of gives a little cover to him that he just was sending her a text message but wasn't going to be there. So I don't know what the hell that was, but to me, I think it sounds like a setup, and he was I think he was working with the husband somehow, allegedly. Moore wasn't at the office. He had sent a text telling Sherman he was waiting for her there, but he wasn't there. He had lied. When questioned by police, he lied to them too. He pleaded guilty in 2017 to a charge of falsification for lying about his whereabouts during Sherman's slaying, as well as 2 counts of felony inducing panic. During a court hearing, Sherman's daughter, Jennifer Rivcham, tearfully said, "Greg Moore has had 1,522 days and countless opportunities to aid in seeking her justice since her vicious death. Yet instead, he's admitted that he lied to law enforcement about his whereabouts and continues to sit here today without explaining himself or sharing what he knows." Moore was sentenced to 6 months in jail. He resigned his law license in 2018. The twist, and one of the most heartbreaking twists imaginable, Sherman's homicide is unsolved despite surveillance camera having filmed the killer. It's sort of like the Delphi case. That's why it's just unbelievable. The footage shows someone, or even Missy Beavers, right? The footage shows someone wearing a black hooded winter coat scurrying away from the crime scene. If life were like TV shows, someone in a lab would simply say, "Enhance and solve the crime." Yeah, but that doesn't work, everybody. I've tried to tell you that 1,000 times, but people send me pixels and say, "Look at that." Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. The footage so far has proved useless. Some worthwhile tidbits to note, however. One of Sanford Sherman's friends, Larry Shanker, testified in a deposition that Sanford had asked him how someone might get away with murder. Shanker said he replied, "Don't use your car." I think that's a huge hint there. Or don't let your car be seen. Don't use a gun because it could be heard. Don't use your street clothes. Use something that could cover up your entire body, your face, your hands. Also, some complicated money matters came to light during the Shermans' divorce. He was shifting money around, yep. 2021. Eliza Sherman murder case, new details on the...
For years, you've watched this grainy security video of a suspect dressed in black. The suspect was caught on video moments after police say 53...
That was a different channel. God, that was so loud. Sorry about that. That was crazy.
For years, you've watched this grainy security video of a suspect dressed in black. The suspect was caught on video moments after police say 53-year-old Aliza Sherman was stabbed nearly 11 times. Sherman's murder happened downtown Cleveland in broad daylight on March 24th, 2013, just a few steps from her attorney's office.
To make sure that nobody forgets that, right here at 75 Erie View is where, my mom was killed.
For the last 8 years, Sherman's daughter and other relatives and friends gather on the anniversary of her death in the location where it happened, asking for anyone.
Sorry, Paulette. I just got your little scream face on there, so I had to put that on there.
With information on the case to come forward.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for my mom and those that loved her.
Sherman was going through a divorce at the time. The case was set to go to trial the next day, so she went downtown Cleveland on the day she was killed to meet with her attorney, Gregory Moore. Investigators say the meeting never took place. Moore was eventually arrested for lying to detectives on the day Sherman was murdered. He entered a guilty plea to 1 count of falsification, but he has not been charged with her murder. And he refused to answer our questions when he was in court in 2016.
Did you call her that day and tell her to come down? Do you feel bad about what's going on? Were you prepared for her trial?
About a year later, he was sentenced to 6 months in jail and placed on probation. Cuyahoga County court records state his probation was completed in May of last year. 8 years after her death, no arrests have been made, and family members said they have not heard much from Cleveland homicide detectives in the past several months. Family members asking for the case to be turned over to agents with the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation. And now the I-Team has learned the Cuyahoga County prosecutor also wants a new set of eyes to look at the case. Prosecutor Mike O'Malley says he would like BCI's newly formed cold case unit to try and find Sherman's killer. O'Malley released this statement to the I-Team. "We fully support BCI taking over as the lead investigative agency and urge Cleveland police to make that request." BCI officials stress that before they can investigate this murder or any unsolved homicide, they must be asked by the lead law enforcement agency. And in that case, that would be Cleveland Police. We reached out to Cleveland Police officials 2 weeks ago and asked if detectives were considering asking BCI to look at the case. The spokeswoman said she would check. We have not heard back.
Our cold case unit is new, really proud of the work they're doing.
Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost told me that the cold case unit can offer old cases new hope with the help of forensic analysis and investigative resources.
A lot of these cases haven't been looked at in years.
And members of the cold case unit sat down with me recently, saying if they were asked to take over the investigation...
Yeah, what do you test, though, in this case? The person's wearing all this stuff and stabs her and then takes off. How would there have been DNA transferred, I guess?
They would first do an assessment of the case to determine if they would be able to help solve it.
We went to a multidisciplinary teamwork approach to all of these cold cases.
Which means they would have agents working in crime analysis, investigations, as well as those in the laboratory division, all taking a look at the case for new avenues to pursue, such as DNA testing. whatever could be done to identify the killer and help provide answers to grieving family members and friends.
She was brutally murdered, brutally, and she never hurt anybody in her life. Was a wonderful mother and friend.
In Cleveland, Peggy Gallick, Fox 8 I-Team.
Yeah, jeez. Brutal. Darn it, I think I lost the... Yep, darn it. So this is August 9th. Jennifer Sherman's daughter of Beachwood nurse Aliza Sherman met with Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation on August 2nd at their London, Ohio office following a June 17th letter from Cleveland Chief of Police Calvin William. Eliza Sherman, a 53-year-old Cleveland clinic in vitro fertilization nurse, was stabbed 11 times on March 24th as she went to meet her divorce lawyer at his office at 75 Erie View Plaza, but the divorce lawyer wasn't even there. He just claimed he was there and showed up an hour after she was murdered. She died from her injuries at Metro Health Medical Center in Cleveland. Later that day, her killer has never been identified. I felt it was really important to go in person and see it with my own eyes, and to also have a face-to-face meeting with the team that's going to be taking over this case. Well, that's awesome. I think that that's going to lead to something. But I think this is another one of those cases, just like Cheryl Coker, Melissa Pesky, Deanne Warner. It's really obvious what's going on here. There's almost no chance that it's not the ex or the spouse. I mean, I would say 0 in all of those cases. But yeah, it's crazy, you know. Man, it's really frustrating. Let's just watch the let's just watch the surveillance one more time. And as we showed, it's right here on that street. I guess she was killed over in this area. Probably right over here, based on that picture that we were just seeing, like over here. Maybe she was killed, and then the killer ran and was running down the street right here. And she lived right here in this home. But she was there visiting her divorce attorney, contentious divorce. A hearing was going to be 2 days later, and then she's killed at her attorney's office. I mean, the odds of that not being related to the divorce is 0, in my opinion. That's just too random. That there was no theft involved. It was purely a hit on her. 2 days later was the divorce hearing by a attorney who wasn't prepared, but he also lied to her and told her to meet her at his office, which almost seems like a setup. And you kind of wonder if there's any communications at all between the husband and her attorney, because it feels like all of this was part of it. You know, he wouldn't want to be there. Like, what if he came down to meet her in the lobby or something? He wasn't there, you know, so... Oh, God, it's just brutal. And also, her attorney is a scumbag regardless. So he would be willing to do something like that. He seems like a lazy, opportunistic, pile of crap attorney who was just making money on the phone calls and never really putting any work in. And so when her husband calls him, he's more than willing to accept some crazy deal to be the lure to get her to come to the office. But he's not even going to be there. And then he sends in a hitman, or maybe it's his girlfriend, or maybe it's somebody else, himself. I don't know. And she's stabbed 11 times wearing all black, exactly using the exact advice that one of the husband's relatives told him, that was a police officer, to use. Or a friend, I mean. Shanker was his name. So, anyways, it just seems really obvious here. But that's it, everybody. We are done for tonight. It's a little bit shorter show, but yesterday it was 5 hours, so I just need to make up a little bit of time. But I thought it was an interesting show regardless. How about you guys? 2 hours and 20 minutes. Packed a lot in there. 4 cases. What do you mean, what would the lawyer gain? He had a deal set, I just told you. Like, I bet you there'd probably be a life insurance claim. He'd be getting all this money, the husband, and he would just give him a big chunk of money somewhere. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. So, thank you to Chrissy, J. Case, Cat Eye, thank you very much. Your Gypsy again, and then Colin Pendleton, Mag with a double Cat Eye, thank you very much. Kathy Freidenmaker, Jiggy England, TTJO Tracy, Quietly Frozen, Foggy Morn, Eugenie, Sean Beecham, Linda Howell, Tawny Lee, Rita Schaefer, Amber Maiden, and Sean Beecham, and then also on, I think it was yesterday, I didn't catch it, but there was PayPals from Nicholas, Angela, Vincent, and Kimberly. Well, anyways, thank you very much. Let's see. That makes sense. Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know. I think I just sound like normal. I'm kind of feeling tired though. Yeah, it's hilarious. Somebody says, sent me, hey Grady, just tonight, did you see that they found Brendan Santos's body? Brendan Santos' body? And I said, yeah, do you ever watch my show? I covered it yesterday. Is that a mean response? I always think it's weird when somebody, like, I'll cover a case 5 nights in a row or something, and then somebody will say, hey Gray, have you heard of this one? And then immediately I realize that there's somebody that never actually watches the damn thing. You know, it's hilarious. But, yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. And I'm just going to go rest or something. I feel tired. I stayed up way too late last night trying to get through the final bit of Yellowstone. Thanks, Charisma. All right. So, anyways, I hope you guys like the show. Thank you guys very much for supporting my channel. We've already donated $1,000 this month. At the end of the month, I'm hoping to do another $200 to $2,500, and that'll all go to the DNA fund, because now we're working on a 4th case to fund at this point. All right. But I'm also going to be heading down to Southern Oregon to meet with a sheriff and a detective about some of their cases that they could use some funding on, because they don't have the money down there. So there you go. All right. For drifting off. I have that effect on people, Saxon, Fox, Nanny. Hey, we still got 169 people left. Awesome. All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2, and a 3, and a... Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody?
All right, everybody. See you guys later.
I don't think we're gonna do that 3 men because Morph said he already covered that one, and I don't know. I don't even really care that much. I mean, it was kind of cool to do at the time, but you know, I'm capable of doing my own podcast if I wanted to, and you know, I like to actually have more to say during a podcast too. Like, I'm not really as into scripting, like you're just sitting there and scripting and then every once in a while fill in with some stuff. You know, I like to be able to talk about what I'm seeing. I think that's kind of what I do. But anyways, so that's it. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to be doing any more 3 men's in a mystery. I kind of, you know, I liked it. I like Morph and Lorden, but at the same time, I don't need it. You know, like, it's not like, oh my god, it's really, you know, it takes up a lot of time, and there's literally 0 income on that as well. It really takes a ton of hours, and there's no income, and it doesn't help out any of the charities or anything at all that I'd like to help out. It's really just kind of getting out information, and I can do that every single night on this show. All right, so that's it. All right, you guys, see you guys tomorrow, and be safe out there.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
What's the whistle for? Jeez.